Reliving the war. Reliving the war. Now let me put this down. It can't be very loud.
Hey yo soldiers, welcome back to Reliving the War and welcome to the 4th of September 2000. This week you're getting deployed to Raw in Lexington, Kentucky and Nitro in Dallas, Texas. We're going to need to take a quick look at SmackDown because much of WWF Raw centers around what happened on Thursday night. Stephanie came back and she announced that she and Hunter had made what happened on Thursday night.
They just showed this nigga ass like full motion. Like what the fuck? Hold on. Can I turn this shit? Playback speed. Let's put that bitch in 0.5.
Stephanie.
Bro, they just casually got this nigga. They just like why? Like just why? Like all I gotta say is why? Well, like fuck you.
He came back and she announced that she and Hunter
baddie. Respects to Triple H. Respect.
Had made up. It's all good in the hood, brother. Kurt Angle said Stephanie must still be a little woozy after Hunter knocked her out at SummerSlam.
Damn.
But Steph said she and Hunter talked and what happened at SummerSlam was obviously an accident. Kurt said alright, but what about Hunter hugging his old girlfriend Chyna? Yeah. Triple H didn't mention this to Stephanie, apparently, and Chyna came out to say Kurt was manipulating Stephanie. Yeah, it was a bit cold in the arena. Hunter got angry backstage. He said Chyna's just a friend and he wanted to go and cool off for a while. When he tried to talk to Steph later, he again freaked out. Just Joe heard what was happening.
Whoa. Niggas not gonna act like he didn't just try to throw him a vase at Stephanie, my beautiful Stephanie McMahon. My nigga.
Tried to talk to Steph later. He
lock him up for 1,000 years. Lock him up for life. Why is he still walking around? Why is Triple H still walking around? Lock him up for life, my nigga. Like, get that nigga out here. My beautiful Stephanie McMahon. Why?
Again freaked out. Just Joe heard what was happening. He ran off to tell everyone and the cops came to arrest Triple H.
Rightfully
Stephanie
so,
said
please.
she didn't call the police, so it must have been Kurt Angle, right? Later on, Chyna hit Stephanie with a DDT, so once again, Kurt Angle left the arena alongside Little Miss McMahon. So my money said...
Now, if that's not dirty making to the makes. Now, for my niggas that don't know dirty making, just look what Kurt Angle was doing with Stephanie McMahon, that whole storyline. And, hey, man, you're coming with your own definition, but just know that is, like, the biggest form of dirty making, my nigga. Like, shit. Like, I mean, that's one way of going around shit. I wouldn't do that personally. But shit, like, I mean, if that's the way you want to go about it, shit, man, I guess.
It was Kurt Angle who phoned the cops. We'll hopefully find out a bit more later on. Over on TNT, Tony Schiavone announces a War Games match for Nitro tonight. This one's going to take place inside the Ready to Rumble cage, and all we know is it's going to feature 8 men. We don't know the rules, we don't know who's involved, but we do see Russo entering the building with Jarrett, Nash and Steiner. Tonight is also the 5-year anniversary of Monday Nitro, which also means it's near enough the 5-year anniversary of Reliving the War, officially. Give or take a month, but sure, let's get stuck in and see.
This is what I mean, like the consistency. I remember watching this nigga back in lockdown. This nigga's still going now, and he's not probably gonna finish until next year. Wait. Now, because you're gonna go to WrestleMania 17, and we're in September 4th. Nah, he might finish this year. Man, that should be an ending for him, man. Like, big ups my nigga wrestling bio, bro. 5 years of consistency, that shit is tough. That shit must have not been easy, but hey, that's why niggas don't call you the GOAT for no reason. Or why I don't call you the GOAT for no reason. Damn, what's with these text messages, my nigga? These niggas going off. Hold on. Give me a bit. Dang, you niggas trying to get a Benz, bro? I'm sorry for the hold up. This is very important right now. You know, this is about the trip is finally leaving the group chat. The trip's finally leaving the group chat. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Trip's finally leaving the group chat, man. All right, let's get back to it, man. I may be taking certain breaks because the trip is leaving the group chat. Like I said, first time in a while, so like you know, niggas might have to take breaks, get back and forth, try to get back in that bitch. Anyways, let's get back to it.
See what's happening on both Raw and Nitro.
Introducing Sportsbet's new Hot Legs. Now you can see who's on fire based on their last 5 games, then combine them in a same game multi for bigger odds. Hot Legs, new from Sportsbet.
Chances are you're about to lose.
Get yourself comfortable because we've got a long Triple H promo to kick off Raw this week. On Nitro, the ICP take on Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrero.
Promo to kick. These Triple H promos have been having it for so long. Like, remember when there was like the Reign of Terror and everybody was complaining, oh shit, Triple H used to talk for like 20 minutes. I'm the gamer, the Triple H. I'm walking down the ramp with Stephanie McMahon, and I'm here to just rumors. That shit sounds stupid as fuck. My fault.
Kick off Raw this week. On Nitro, the ICP take on Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera. The Nitro match highlighted the inexperience of Violent J and Shaggy 2-Dope, but it wasn't a terrible match or anything. Rey and Juvi did a good job of carrying the bout, and they made the ICP look as good as possible by flying all around the ring.
I understand the hate for the jugglers. I completely do. I myself have never really tuned into the jugglers like that. I am not a juggler. When I think of jugglers, I think of what's that nigga Cyrus C-Rex, that weird nigga on YouTube, that one of them locals. Well, like, besides the point, it is crazy how influential these niggas are. Like, for these white niggas coming into rap, doing all the shit that was, and took the flack for being weird. Like, I was watching this Gully Boy video, and damn, there is definitely no Lil Uzi, no niggas like Cardi, no niggas like X, no niggas like the underground scene with the whole, like, you know, emo type shit like Netspend. All these niggas would not exist without ICP, because if ICP was not around to take the brunt of the force and kind of change niggas' perception of rap, then a lot of these niggas would have not existed. So I guess shout out my jugglers and shout out ICP. I would want to go to the juggler event just for the fuck of it and see how stupid it is. But like, yeah, man, that'd be pretty dope.
Both defensively and offensively. Violent J missed his target and he took out Mr. 2-Dope with a forearm shot. This allowed Rey to perform a springboard leg drop, and Shaggy got brought back in the ring to get his Bronco. Violent J missed his target by flying all around the ring, both defensively and offensively. Violent J missed.
If we had Rey with both knees to this day, I think he might go down as one of the goods all time. Like, already now we're looking at it, Rey is up there, but like, you have to remember, Rey was significantly, and I mean like significantly, handicapped because of his legs. Obviously, we know his problem was I think his right knee, and like, you know, it's been a running joke, and like, you know, a lot of people have played into storylines and shit. So like, imagine if he had a functioning, well, not functioning, but if he had a proper knee that wasn't tweaked out and he was still wrestling now, My nigga, if you're still wrestling now with that, damn, there's a lot of niggas that could have survived. Like Eddie, I remember Kurt was saying this. Eddie before and after these like car crashes were two completely different niggas. Imagine if Eddie never got into that car crash. Now obviously it would play significantly different in his personal life, but I mean if his body was like the same way without it, like Eddie Guerrero would have been one of the greatest of all time too. Like there's so many niggas who are already great that could have been even better with that injury. Niggas like Scott Steiner. Imagine if Scott Steiner was Big Papa Pump doing this thing he was doing with the Steiner Brothers. Now Scott Steiner would be my nigga. He would be the best. Like come on, like niggas don't really know that.
Missed his target and he took out Mr. Two Dope with a forearm shot. This allowed Ray to perform a springboard leg drop and Shaggy got brought back in the ring to get his Bronco busted. The ICP managed to get Juventud out of the ring and Violent J performed a press slam on Ray. The Animals were having none of that, so they refocused, they delivered a double drop kick and the Animals win by performing the Nutcracker. Completely passable opening bout on Nitro and the right team won, so no complaints. Backstage, Major Guns is on a treadmill and that's because she needs...
Alright. One thing I wouldn't lie about these old wrestling, like attitude era shit. You don't lie to me if you didn't say they had some fine women. Now, hey, I had to look back in case Dr. Umar was looking at me, but like they did have some fine women. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, the only problem was they weren't wrestling. They were fine, but they weren't wrestling. My nigga, damn. It's like this, that current NXT class with all that women, black women. Enough of that anyways.
Needs to become more Canadian. You see, Canadian superstars are tough, they need to prove their worth, so if the Major wants to live out her dream of being a true Canadian, she needs to put the work in. We'll come back to Major Bops a bit later on. The Game and Stephanie enter the ring on Raw, and Hunter admits that he's done some pretty bad things since coming to the WWF, but he's never hid who he is. He's taken responsibility for being a bad man.
Now, see, I don't know that, because you still haven't admitted to the Montreal Screwjob, so have you really been an open man in wrestling? Like, for as shitty Vince was, Vince did admit to the Montreal Screwjob. Now, Vince is nowhere near a good human being. We all know the type of shit he's done. So, comparing Vince McMahon to Paul Levesque is kind of nutty to me. I should probably zip it up, so...
Though there's someone who won't take responsibility for what happened on Thursday night. Triple H had to sit in a cop shop when he should have been in the ring competing, and Hunter isn't leaving the ring tonight until he gets some answers. He wants to know who called the cops and he wants that person to come out right now. Commissioner Foley makes his way to the ring and Mick says, "It wasn't me, Chief." As a matter of fact, Mick wants to help Triple H find the culprit because losing Triple H on Thursday night hurt the SmackDown show. Foley accuses Stephanie. He sees the way Steph looks at Kurt, and perhaps getting rid of Triple H would let Steph finally be with Mr. Integrity. Steph protests. Mick realizes that maybe she actually didn't do it because she isn't capable of using her brain to plan out such an elaborate scheme.
You know, if you look back at that era, it is crazy how, like, I understand, like, you know, it was a different era. Like, niggas like to say, oh, niggas used to be differently. I understand your theory. My nigga, Vince McMahon let his own daughter get berated, shamed, exposed, and basically called a retard for the whole of fucking, like, 2000, like, 99 to 2004, 5-ish, whenever after the, like, SmackDown era, when she was SmackDown GM, she let this nigga, she got kidnapped on live television. She got called a slut by not only the fans, but the wrestlers themselves. My nigga Mick Foley just said this nigga can't use her brain. And I know Vince McMahon was out there, like, chuckling it up and shit. Was it? Vince McMahon was about to do an impregnation storyline, my nigga, with his own daughter. And that does not tell you how sick and twisted this nigga is. I don't know what is going to tell you that. So, that is something you probably just got to figure out for yourself. You know, no shouts out to Vince McMahon. No shouts out. No.
but maybe it was actually Triple H. Maybe Hunter got himself arrested. Hunter says he knows he hit Foley on the head quite a few times, but even he can't be that stupid. Foley.
This nigga called me, saying, he could say he could say he might just drop. You can go with the guys and get PK. Alright, good, that's where
He says maybe Hunter did it to pull at his wife's heartstrings, maybe he did it to get back at Mick and ruin SmackDown. And Triple H says, nah mate, he'd really enjoy screwing Mick around, but that's not what happened.
Pause.
So Triple H accuses Mick. Fans see Mick as a, quote, roly-poly, happy-go-lucky, rotund little guy, but Hunter knows how sick and twisted Foley really is. Triple H ended Mick's career, and this would have been the perfect way for Mick to finally get his revenge. Mick says he holds diplomatic immunity, he wouldn't do such a thing because he's commissioner, so if it wasn't anyone standing in the ring, then the culprit can really only be one other person, and that person is Kurt Angle. Out comes Angle as our episode of Unsolved Mysteries continues.
This nigga about to be best gaslighting of his life. Best gaslighting of his life. I can't wait to see this, because the gaslighting I see, I'm gonna take nuts. Actually, you know what? How to gaslight like Kurt Angle. Let's take the notes. Let's take the notes today. We finna go through class.
And of course, Kurt says it wasn't him. Kurt's a man of integrity. So
a man of integrity. Reinforce your values. The 3 I's. A man of intelligence, the man of intelligence, integrity, and intensity. The 3 I's, my nigga.
So he blames China. Kurt said
Number 2, blame somebody else. Yes.
As Hunter still has the hots for China, and just like
put down the person. Yep, put down the person accusing you. Actually, no, let's change that to try and spin the narrative. And then turn the attention to someone else, yes. I'm learning already.
Like Triple H, China has no problem hurting Steph, especially after the DDT on SmackDown.
Bring up evidence. Nah. I told you he's the best. I don't know how he's the best.
China says she didn't call the police. There's nothing going on between.
Now, we took notes right here. I'm trying to read it through here. Top says, I'm trying to see. Top says reinforce values. Like my nigga said, he's a man of integrity. Yes, sir. Now let's get down here. Blame somebody else. Like he said, blame China. It was probably China's fault. 3, spin the narrative. Say that Triple H, my nigga, still got huts for China. 4, turn the attention to someone else. Say Triple H might side the huts for China. See, that's how China try to spin the situation and try to call the cops and put out Stephanie from the picture. Come on. And then last one we have right here. Bring up evidence. Say China is not scared of hurting you like she did on SmackDown. See? That's where one of the 3 eyes playing intelligence.
She and Triple H. China's with Eddie Guerrero, so Foley thinks maybe it was Eddie who called the cops. After all, Triple H beat Eddie last week on Raw, so yeah, here comes Eddie to also deny the serious allegations. Eddie didn't want Triple H arrested. He would actually prefer if Triple H stuck around on SmackDown so Eddie could beat him and prove that he's better than him. So we've got a lot of suspects and no one's admitting to being the bastard who called the fuzz. Foley gets the fans to cheer for who they think the culprit is. Everyone thinks it's Kurt Angle.
Damn.
And just as Mick was about to bring Kurt backstage for a good old-fashioned interrogation,
he's still doing it. He's still doing it. Look at his face. Look at the aggression. Look at the anger. Look at the construct. Look at everything just added up. Look at the way he's pointing at him. Come on, that's the king of gaslighting right there.
Test and Trish show up. Test says he has a confession to make. Oh boy. He says his career was supposed to skyrocket right to the top when he married Stephanie. He was supposed to become a big player and he was supposed to get a lot of money. Triple H ruined all that and it was Triple H who got everything Test was supposed to get. So to get himself some payback, Test phoned the cops and he got Hunter arrested on SmackDown. This is, well, it's unexpected, isn't it? Foley books Triple H versus Test for Raw tonight. Mick incorrectly says Hunter's the WWF champion here, by the way. Test says that's fine because Payback and Stephanie have a lot in common. They're both a bitch. Hunter sees red and he goes to attack Test, but Kurt Angle gives Test a helping hand and Hunter takes a few shots before everyone heads to the back. Good promo if you're into this kind of thing, and it was entertaining, but that's about 25 minutes of Raw taken up, and our remaining matches are all very short.
Oh man, that's the only
Google
bad thing
will
about
guide you
trial
through
rules,
starting a
but
new campaign.
I way prefer that than the shit they're doing today.
Vince Russo talks about the upcoming War Games match next on Nitro, while Raw presents Kane versus Chris Benoit. Kane interfered in a Benoit versus Undertaker match on SmackDown. The Rock came out to help the Undertaker. Rock and Taker are going to team up to take on Edge and Chris.
I just love the way he pawns that shit back like, you know how LeBron go for a tomahawk, LeBron finna go like, yee. The Rock look at you like look at the hand, look at the hand, look at the hand. Like, it's actually kind of cool.
Christian in our Raw main event, but Rock's going to watch Benoit versus Kane from the commentary table because the winner of this one becomes the #1 contender for the WWF title.
This is what I miss. #1 contender matches. When was the last time they genuinely had a #1 contender match on like Raw or SmackDown? I actually don't remember the last time. Maybe they have, and I'm tweaking in my head, but I do not remember from the Raws and SmackDowns I've watched, or like the recaps I've seen. Like, please, bro, just, you know, that shit matters. Like, please, man.
Clothesline, backbreaker, and gorilla press slam from Kane. Neckbreaker, German suplex, and back suplex from Benoit. Chris then looked to finish the match with a diving headbutt, but after,
like, man, it's so, like, you can see the Chronicles of CTE. Like, you can see the Chronicles of CTE, man. Like, look at that shit. That nigga's flying like a mockingbird. And it's like, you know, it's the flying is his demise, you know, the high point before the downfall. I don't know why I said that.
After delivering the move, he started jaw-jacking the WWF champion. So Kane tried a reverse suplex when Benoit was on the apron, and I bet that hurt. Did Benoit learn his lesson? No, because when he once again gets the better of Kane, he once again gets in the Rock's face, and Kane's able to take control. It ends when Kane grabs the Rock by the throat and Benoit decides to hit the Big Red Machine with a steel chair. That's a DQ, mister, and that should mean Kane's the #1 contender for the Rock's WWF title.
Sense, yeah.
Benoit takes a big boot from Kane, Kane takes a rock bottom, and JR says the #1 contender actually hasn't been decided here, which is bullshit if you ask me, but you didn't ask me, so yeah. The Natural Born Thrillers bring Russo to the ring, and Vince steps inside the triple cage to cut this promo. He says WCW will entertain the fans tonight, unlike
the word WCW and entertainment in the let me shut up so y'all can see this. The word WCW and entertainment in 2000. Boy. Now I understand if it's like this shit's ass is funny, but like from the way he's smiling and the way he's cheesing, like look at that shit, his eyes down, nigga look like he's suited. Like, the way he looks, I know he means it in more of a positive way. And my nigga, the show will speak for itself.
Like the Dallas Cowboys the night before, I'm guessing the Cowboys got chinned. And Russo formally introduces War Games 2000, also known as Russo's Revenge. The object of tonight's War Games is for a man to climb to the very top of the cage, grab the World Championship, and the belt also has to get carried out of the bottom cage in order to win the match and the title. So it's not War Games, but let's play along. There's going to be 2 teams of 4. Team 1 is Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, and Vince Russo himself. Remember, Russo said he didn't want to be on TV anymore, guys. And on Team 2, we've got Ernest Miller, Booker T, Bill Goldberg, and Sting. Russo then announces that Ernest Miller has 0 part tonight, seeing as his lawyers looked into that deal Miller made with Eric Bischoff, and there seems to be some fuckery going on. So to make things difficult, the Cats War Games team will have to compete in qualifying matches in order to make it into the main event. That non-physicality clause Vince has with Goldberg, he's prepared to waive it if Goldberg qualifies. So Russo could very well get his head ripped off tonight on Nitro. It's amazing. Kevin Nash comes out and Big Sexy isn't happy. He wonders what Russo's smoking because Nash never agreed to put his world title on the line tonight. Kevin says he's not a fighting champion, he only has to defend his belt once a month. And Russo...
See, now that's a rule that I remember I was talking about it. It's like, why are wrestlers allowed to sit out pay-per-views now? From my era, I'm saying that like I lived a long time ago, but from what I remember from wrestling, you had to fight once every month, otherwise your championship would get relinquished, which makes sense, and it was a tactic used by heels, like Kevin Nash said before. Now it seems like wrestlers are allowed to sit out pay-per-views. For example, Io Sky. When's the last time Io Sky was allowed to wrestle? She was allowed to skip out on Night of Champions. I'm trying to think of other instances, but like there is multiple instances. Like Roman Reigns will sit out multiple he'll sit out a pay-per-view, or he'll sit out multiple Raws and SmackDowns, not even fight, or he would have fights and they weren't even championship fights. Now make the rules consistent. At least tell us that that rule has been relinquished, or say Paul Heyman has so much pull in the back that he doesn't have to abide by that anymore. But apparently logic just doesn't matter anymore, and anybody can do anything, and as long as it makes money, or as long as people watch it, like that's what they want to do. But no, that's not how it works, man. Make consistent thoughts, because consistency is what's going to bring you future storylines. If one storyline, oh yeah, every 30 days, the next storyline, someone could come in, let's say they have like the Authority, let's say they have Triple H, Stephanie McMahon or something as your authority figure, and say that, oh no, let's say faction comes, the authority figure like Adam Pearce is now their manager, and then they can say because of Adam Pearce, they relinquish the rule where you no longer have to defend for 30 days anymore, and they can sit out pay-per-views. Have them do jokes. Pay-per-view happens, they come out, they sit, they're either doing color commentary, or they're sitting at the skylights, or they're like sitting and enjoying the show, and then you show it on camera, showing them laughing it up, and then boom, 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 you have a babyface heel comes in, does his stuff, chases the championship, say, hey, I'll be a fighting champion, like that nigga Cody was saying. Similar to what happened with Roman and Cody, and how Cody was saying, I'll be the fighting champion, except that was cap. Straight cap. That nigga did not fight for shit. I think he had like 11 championship reigns in about like 600 days, which is just nutty to think about. Well, it wasn't 600 days. It'd be like 500 or something, or like 300 or something, because he went from first WrestleMania to second WrestleMania when he lost his championship. So around 300 or something days. Only 11 for title defenses, nigga. That's a joke. My nigga, that's a joke. Come on, we need to put things up. We need to try more. Triple H, we need to try more, please.
Also tells Kev that no one tells him what to do. Do you smell it, folks? Can you smell the stinky, shitty stench of an upcoming swerve? Because I certainly can.
What are you niggas saying? Chicken shit said don't skip you from the airport, by the way, y'all know. Nice. What you saying? Locked in.
Nash says he's Russo's daddy. He grabs him by the neck. The lights go out and Sting emerges from under the ring. Russo orders Nash to kick Sting's ass. Kev flips Russo off, and Big Sexy serves Russo to Sting on a silver platter. Sting says he will become world champion tonight as Kevin leaves the ring. Sting gets all in Russo's face while saying it's showtime tonight, folks. And when Sting goes to attack Russo, the Natural Born Thrillers, Scott Steiner and Jeff Jarrett get inside the ring to help Vinny Rue out. Booker T and Ernest Miller come out to help Sting. Russo climbs all the way to the top of the cage before climbing back down in order to avoid Sting. And when Goldberg's music plays in the arena, Vince runs away to the backstage area. When he gets to his office, Steiner and Jarrett are mad at him. They say Russo shouldn't have put Kev's championship up for grabs, but the guys should be happy. I mean, Jarrett's obsessed with becoming world champion, and tonight he's got an opportunity to win the gold. But sure, small details.
Who knows, man?
By the way, I want to say hi to my one little fan out there. Hello, Smokey, my cat.
You got the jam, I got the jam, most definitely.
This week's Oz Lotto jackpot is $20 million. With the $20 million jackpot.
The Dudley Boys and the Acolytes had a tables match next on Raw, and they didn't really get a chance to do much, seeing as the match runtime was so short. Kai and Tai are now members of the APA, apparently, and Jerry Lawler said these guys must be the Asian Protection Agency. It was Kai and Tai who cost the Acolytes the match when they hit Farouk with their flag. Bradshaw got put through a table, and to get some payback, Bradshaw put Taka through a table. Funaki also took a Dominator for good measure, so everyone involved retains their popularity moving forward, including Kai and Tai. Kurt Angle was scheduled to take on China for the IC title in our next match, and Eddie was a little worried. He wanted to protect China at all costs because Angle couldn't be trusted. So Mick Foley made the match a triple threat encounter, and he told Eddie to look after his mamacita. And that triple threat match is up next while the Harris brothers cut a promo on Nitro. Kurt...
Why do the Harris brothers get a... The Harris brothers get a promo? The Harris brothers, my nigga? The Harris brothers? The Harris brothers. Nah. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, y'all niggas just gotta see who this, like, bro. These niggas right here getting a promo, by the way. These are the niggas getting a promo. Why? Let's see what Sam has to say. Oh, I don't know what that means. But look, these niggas get a promo. These niggas get a promo. I've been reiterating. These niggas get a promo. Why? I don't know. Let's see what they got to say.
Kurt didn't know Eddie was getting involved in this match. Latino Heat attacked him during the entrances, and when the match kicked off, it was clear this was going to be a 2-on-1 affair. Still, Angle managed to launch China out of the ring, and this gets followed up with Eddie taking a belly-to-belly. China breaks Angle's cover, and we see a double flapjack from China and Eddie, followed with a double suplex. Eddie lets China cover Kurt, but Angle kicks out at 2. Kurt avoids a double clothesline, he puts China on the mat, and he also gets Eddie out of the ring. While the referee's busy, Eddie takes a chair shot on the outside, and China comes out to help Latino Heat. Back in the ring, Angle takes 2 clotheslines, he fires back with a back suplex. Eddie tries to bring the chair into the ring, and while the referee's busy, Angle nails China with the Intercontinental belt. Eddie gets angry, he suplexes Angle out of the ring. He's then not sure if he should stay on Kurt or maybe check on China, and he decides the right thing to do is check on his mamacita. He gives her a hug, he falls on top of her, the referee counts 1, 2, 3, and Eddie looks shocked. Guerrero's just won the IC Championship, and it looks like he didn't actually mean to pin China. He tries to hide the belt from her, he doesn't want to draw any attention to what he just did, and gotta say, Eddie plays this brilliantly, by the way. We don't actually know if he did this on purpose, or if he regrets it. When the two get backstage, Eddie convinces China he didn't mean to pin her. He says China means the world to him, and he even tries to give her the IC belt back. China won't accept it, she ends up forgiving Eddie, and the two share a hug, and boom, there it is. That look right there tells us that this was Eddie's plan.
It's the small details that these niggas are missing these days, man. It's like, it's not only about the wrestling. Like, you can be Ricochet. Like, Ricochet is a really good wrestler. Like, I won't lie. But, like, it's little shit like this that get the fans invested. Because, like, not all, like, most of the fans into the wrestling are like from like mediocre to hardcore fans. I'm telling you, the casual fan does not give a fuck about the wrestling, my nigga. I care about the wrestling, okay? Like some wrestling can be good. Others can be like mediocre. I could really care less, but it's the story, shit like this that just pulls you in. Look at that nigga face. You can tell that this nigga was up to something. It's just small details like that. Like something like that will just let him know this nigga slide. This nigga's cheeky as a first time viewer. You can't really see that in like wrestling too much now. Outside of like certain amount of people, like a Roman Reigns or like John Cena, and even John Cena was getting a little washed until he CM Punk feud where he brought back his promo skills. But if you get my point, like it's a small shit like this that's like. You work your character, so it's like a new time viewer that sees this shit knows that's his character. That nigga slide, that nigga cheeky. Oh, that nigga be moving like that. Let me watch out for him next time. Type shit like that.
And all along, he lies, he cheats, he steals. From this greatness to the Bozo brothers over on Nitro. They don't get in the ring to cut a promo. Instead, they go to the commentary table and they say they've prepared a little video. Ronald and Donald say they won't leave until the production crew play the tape. So Shivani begs for the video to get played. Viewership's plummeting, and the quicker these guys beat it, the quicker Nitro can recover. The video plays. The boys say they're going to prove they are true likers of Michael by going into this shithole bar and beating up Chronic, and that's exactly what they do. They break chairs, they break pint glasses, so yeah, brilliant. It's cool when the APA do this kind of stuff. Yeah. Shane Douglas says he wants Goldberg in Bill's War Games qualifying match. He's even arranged for the Natural Born Thrillers to help him out, but Tori says these guys suck and Shane needs to take care of Goldberg all on his own for some reason. Shane says okay, Russo says okay. But when Shane leaves the office, Russo brings the Thrillers back in and he tells them to watch Shane's back. Clearly, Russo isn't confident in the franchise's capabilities. Tess says he can't wait to embarrass Stephanie in our next match. She may have left Big Andy at the altar, but Tess is going to leave Triple H in the hospital. Hunter, meanwhile, tells Stephanie to stay in the back. He wants to do this all alone and he says Test has no idea what he's in for. Triple H vs Test is our next match on Raw, while Nitro presents Sting vs Vampiro and the Great Muta in a War Games qualifying match. Hunter easily beats up both Test and Albert at the opening bell. Trish has the referee distracted, but she needn't have bothered. After clearing out the ring, Hunter grabs Trish and he goes to pedigree her, but Test stops it and the big man's able to floor Hunter with a big boot. Stephanie didn't listen to Triple H. She didn't stay in her dressing room. She's watching the match behind the curtain and, well, Luke.
The king of gaslighting. The king of gaslighting. Look at the way my nigga walking, he all cold and shit. Nigga up like this. Nigga, give it a little walk. Straps down, so you know he's serious. Straps down, so you know he's serious. I know nigga must have been walking. He's like, you know what? Yee. And then that nigga, he all out too. He know what he trying to do. Look at his eyes too. There's only one man. There's only one man that knows what that looks like. And Kurt Angle trying to be the second. I respect it.
Here it is. Angle stands behind Stephanie like some sort of deranged pervert as the action continues, so watch your back, Steph. Watch your back.
Bro, look at how oiled up this nigga is. This nigga trying to do a slip and slide into it. Like he's trying to... Like, hey man, you do your thing.
Finds himself in trouble as he takes a big boot from Albert outside the ring. The game gets press slammed back inside the ropes where Tess performs his gut wrench powerbomb. Tess then goes up for his diving elbow drop and Hunter avoids it. So that's all she wrote, folks. Our match is over. Triple H dominates with a Harley Race knee and a facebreaker knee smash. He then takes Albert out when the big man gets on the apron. Tess gets pinned after taking a pedigree. And just to prove his dominance, Triple H also pedigrees Albert for good measure. Utter destruction from the game right here, and his lovely wife Stephanie gets in the ring to celebrate.
That's kind of burying my nigga Test. Fuck. Can't speak. That's lucky burying my nigga Test, man. Let him do more. Let him live up to his potential, please.
Right after the match, Test is simply unable to overcome Triple H no matter the circumstances. On Nitro, it's wild to think that Sting beat Muta and Vampiro in just over 1 minute, especially after
Sting beat... bro, this is burying niggas. Like, this is not even it's I actually really can't speak. A squash match is cool. I like squash matches, you know, especially to put someone over. But if you're trying to build a credible storyline, and the storyline's having squash matches, and these other people don't come back later, like, what's the point of the storyline? I don't get it. I'm fucking tired of these text messages, man. What's going on? Nigga, damn. Gee, bruh. Let me get back to it.
That supposed JCW takeover of Nitro 2 weeks ago, but that's exactly what happened. Sting fought off both men in the early going, and he was able to send Vompy balls outside the ring, which allowed him to focus on Muda.
Oh, that is crazy too. They're fighting for the storyline, the belt for the other promotion, right? So now they're just burying the other promotion too. Like, damn, bro, damn.
Muda took a facebuster before Vampiro came back in, but when Sting got put in place for the Green Mist, it was Vampiro who ended up getting sprayed. Madden said Muda should have swallowed and not spit, and yeah, he has a point. Stinger Splash, Scorpion Death Drop. We'll be seeing Sting later on inside War Games, which is good news. The bad news is there's now dissension within the Dark Carnival. The ICP run down to stop Vamp and Muda from attacking each other, and don't be surprised by this, factions aren't built to last in WCW. Major Guns is one step closer to becoming a true Canadian. This is
they actually really know what they're doing. Like, bro,
actually how folks became Canadian citizens back in 2000. You had to go through an intense workout while Lance Storm stared at you in a very serious manner. Kevin Nash complains to Jarrett and Steiner about Russo put
Lance Storm will be one of your best trainers ever. Like, this nigga looks like so no nonsense. Like, I feel like if you try to joke around, this nigga just like straight back to work. Like, there's no breaks, no nothing. You just straight on that shit with him. Like, damn.
His title on the line inside War Games tonight, and Kevin threatens to represent the babyface team in tonight's main event. Really, it should be every man for himself, seeing as the world title's up for grabs, but what do I know? Stevie Ray, meanwhile, is complaining to Vince Russo. He said he came here to wrestle tonight, but he won't wrestle him. Russo threatens to rip up Stevie Ray's contract and remove him from the Thunder broadcast team, and Russo tells Stevie that he should really be thankful, seeing as he now has an opportunity to win the WCW Championship. So yeah, it's Stevie Ray versus Booker T next on Nitro, while Raw presents a Right to Censor promo. Stevie gets in the ring. He says he's not fighting Booker for Russo. He's going to put on a show for all these people, and Booker shares the same sentiments. Russo won't get at Booker by making him fight Stevie Ray, so it's all friendly competition between the brothers. You certainly wouldn't think this as Stevie Ray beats the ever-loving shit out of Booker at the opening bell. Stevie Ray doesn't hold back at all when the action briefly goes outside the ring, and back inside, Stevie tries to win it after a body slam. Don't think that's going to work, lad. Booker fights back, we see the axe kick. Stevie Ray knows Booker better than anyone though, so he's able to counter the Harlem sidekick, but on the flip side, Booker's able to counter his brother's slapjack. Stevie's also able to counter the book end, but he can't counter a second attempt. So Booker wins this 2-minute match, and Booker advances to the War Games main event.
There's no way all that should happen in 2 minutes, right? There's actually no way all that should happen in 2 minutes. Fuck.
The bell, Stevie tells his brother to get ready for War Games. He says suckers gotta know, and I agree, suckers do need to know. So there's no bad blood between Booker T and Stevie Ray. On Raw, the Good Father says every day a miracle happens. Every day a man is saved. Selective censorship should not be shunned, but instead it should be embraced. Thanks for that, Good Father. Stephen Richards says there's going to be a new recruit joining the Right to Censor, that being Val Venus. And Val comes out to say, whoa, hold up, he didn't agree to join the Right to Censor. Val says this faction includes nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. They try to take away freedom while saying it makes the world a better place. They speak out against violence, yet they attack women. Plus, they dress like a bunch of, quote, geeky Poindexters. I haven't heard that in a while. Stevie's trying to understand what's going on. Val dumped his old adult star gimmick, he began wearing white trunks, he got rid of Trish Stratus, so clearly Val Venus is a member of the Right to Censor, he just doesn't know it yet. Venus didn't come here to debate, he came here to compete. He threatens to end the Right to Censor, so Stevie says if Val isn't with the RTC, then he's against the RTC. This little storyline will continue later on. Chronic are looking for the Harris brothers. They beat up the Young Dragons because they felt they were making fun of them when the boys were just trying to better their English. And Chronic also attacked 3 Count, who were getting ready for their match inside the ring. Chronic find themselves in an impromptu match next on Nitro, while Raw presents a hardcore match, Sensei Blackman versus the Big Boss Man. After Chronic get done taking out 3 Count, Adams tells Ronald and Donald to get their asses out of the ring for a fight. The boys don't get the Bozo brothers, instead they get Jeff Jarrett calling them both a pair of Mary Jane blunt asses. I'm not even joking, Double J actually said that. Jarrett announces that Chronic won't be fighting the Harris brothers, instead they're going to take on Ernest Miller in their jobs to make sure Miller doesn't make it to War Games. Jarrett goes on commentary. Miller reminds Chronic that they have a lot in common. Every man in the ring right now.
Wait. So Ernest Miller is the fucking what's the word? He is the commissioner of Nitro. Yeah, he let he let Jeff Jarrett walk in, demand him into a match, and he's just willingly complying. And I remember at one point that the cat, Ernest Miller, was saying that Vince Russo couldn't overturn his decision because he was your prime authority figure. So he, in storyline, has the highest position in Nitro. Yet he's allowing this little nigga to boss him around to do the match. And he's just going with it. If he's higher than Vince Russo, couldn't he technically just book himself to win and go straight into the War Games? Couldn't he just book himself to fight Kevin Nash? Couldn't he just... No more.
Now, including Ginger Ref, wants to take Russo and his buddies out, so Miller proposes a truce and he wants to go after Double J. Chronic fall for it. Miller tries a quick roll-up, but Adams kicks out. Miller still wants to get his hands on Double J. Miller tries a quick roll-up, but Adams kicks out. Miller still wants to get his hands on Double J, so he slides out of the ring to go after Jeff. Miller's assistant, Miss Jones, ends up slapping Jeff across the face, which pleases Cat no end. But Miller should have really focused on Chronic, because when the match gets back in the ring, he ends up taking the high times and Chronic win via pinfall. Backstage, Russo and Steiner watch the match, and then the penny drops. Miller may be out of War Games, but Chronic are now in. I absolutely love the delayed reaction from Scott right here, as it takes him a moment to realise what happened.
Don't ever doubt me. Oh, you son of a bitch, you clean ain't working. I'll shove this up your ass.
Why?
Right, so during the week, the Big Boss Man, Crash Holly, and Dean Malenko all tried to join the Motherfuck Dojo, and they all failed.
Whoa, like I've been saying, this ain't gonna be banging with remixes and just fucking background music. Like, this shit gonna be bumping like that shit nice as.
Failed in getting recruited. Boss Man blames it on Crash not pulling his weight and he shoves a banana in his face. And when Dean tried to tell Boss Man to lighten up, he gets shoved into Crash. Boss Man believes that if the student
entirely, like I don't remember the last time Dean Malenko was in the TV since he's storyline with Perry Seddon. Or was it even just whatever he was on with the Revolution? After that he just disappeared. Like damn. That's crazy to think.
Beat the master, he'll get accepted into the dojo with open arms, and that's how this match came to be. Really guys, not joking. Bossman did pick up a few tips and he saw Blackman's monkey flip coming a mile off, but he got frustrated when Master Steve delivered a dropkick, and so it was time to really prove himself by grabbing a kendo stick. If Bossman can beat Blackman up with one of Steve's favourite weapons, then surely he'll get accepted into the dojo. Blackman's just way too quick here. He's able to dodge the attack and he goes out to grab the Eskrima sticks. This is the ultimate test right here, and as expected, the Bossman fails. He fails in spectacular fashion, though he does use the kendo stick to break the cover. Bossman then uses a fire extinguisher. This was not included in his dojo training, but it's all about being resourceful. We then go all the way to the backstage area, and Bossman tries to sweeten Master up by giving him something to eat. But this kind of bribery does not get you into Blackman's good books. Hoping to gain one more tryout at Blackman's School of Badassery, Crash Holly and Dean Malenko attack the big Bossman. This allows Steve to hit a super kick and win via pinfall. This must mean Dino Machino and Crash are Steve's new pupils, right? Wrong. They too get taken out because kissing up to Steve Blackman gets you absolutely nowhere. Blackman says he's disappointed in all three of these men, and Raw continues on. Val Venus and the Road Dogg take on Bill Buchanan and the Good Father next on Raw. On Nitro, we've got Shane Douglas versus Goldberg. So Venus was allowed to pick his own tag team partner to face the Right to Censor, and he picked the Road Dogg. He had the whole roster at his disposal, and he picked the Road Dogg. Road Dogg thinks the best thing he could do for his children is beat the Right to Censor's asses. He got off to a good start when he and Venus pulled off a double back elbow, a cornerstone double team move for teams who have never joined forces before. When Val got tagged in, he totally let the team down. Both Goodfather and Buchanan steamrolled through Venus, and so we built up towards a Road Dogg hot tag. Road Dogg gets in, he cleans house, the match breaks down, and Road Dogg pins Goodfather while Buchanan beats up Venus on the outside. After the bell, Venus gets DDT'd on the floor. The Right to Censor then neutralise Road Dogg. Venus gets brought up the entranceway, and backstage we see Val getting put in a white van. I don't know guys, the Right to Censor is more like a cult and not the do-gooders they claim to be. I fear what they're going to do to Val Venus. Actually no, I couldn't give a fuck. On Nitro, we've got Goldberg versus Shane Douglas, and we all know what's going to happen here, guys. I'll eat my own balls if Douglas wins this match. Goldberg begins with a leg lock. On the outside, Shane takes a guardrail bump, but the silly Billy Goldberg throws a forearm into the ring post, and Shane now has a target. Goldberg has to sell for a little while, which is always a joy to watch. Bill knows this isn't a strong suit, so he breaks out of a knuckle lock, and this is where our match ends. Douglas takes a clothesline, Goldberg lines up a spear, the natural-born thrillers get in the ring to help Shane out, and this group of
if you've seen one Goldberg match, you've seen all of them.
Young, fresh talent gets obliterated by Goldberg. Schiavone goes apeshit while saying Goldberg just hit Reno with his own move, but he actually didn't. Palumbo takes a pump handle drop, and when Sanders gets lifted up for a press slam, Goldberg lets go so he can spear Douglas. One jackhammer later, and Goldberg punches his ticket into War Games 2000. Russo shits a brick backstage, and so he approaches Kevin Nash in an effort to squash their beef. He asks Nash if he wants more money, but Kev says he's got an agenda. He wants to leave Nitro with his world title, and he wants to make sure Vince Russo doesn't leave.
Advertisements, are you for real?
Major Guns is still trying to become a Canadian, and she's doing the breaststroke. Of course, the MIA are perving in the background, which isn't a great look for them at all. And Pamela Paulshock says she wants to be Canadian too, so she gets thrown into the swimming pool. The MIA aren't happy with all these Americans wanting to change their nationality, so they launch an attack and we get some swimming pool frolics live on Nitro. Major Guns is now very, very close to becoming Canadian, I think. Remember folks, we're going to see David Flair and Miss Hancock tie the knot next week on Nitro, and look, Arn Anderson's here to announce that yes, he and Ric Flair will be attending the wedding, so the Nature Boy returns next week to Nitro. Arn isn't sure why a guy David's age would want to get married, but if it makes him happy, then so be it. Can't wait to cover this train wreck next week. Earlier on
doesn't
Raw,
matter, it's
Mick
gonna be
Foley
fun
had a
either
word
way.
with Midian. That new gimmick of his got the WWF quite a few complaints and also a few threats because, well, Midian doesn't exactly
nigga
have a
is
chiseled
way too
body.
comfortable.
Midian had to
Way
promise
too
to stop
comfortable.
interfering in matches with
Looking
his
like
junk
that.
hanging out, and he had no choice but to comply with the commissioner's demands. But Foley also did Midian a solid by booking him in a match. Taz wanted to fight Jericho and Jerry Lawler, and Foley went one step further by booking Taz in a tag team match against Y2J and The King. And Foley promised Taz a great partner, a monster of a man, a former champion, and yeah, it was
gonna be
Midian.
Gilbert.
So Jericho and The
Oh,
King take on
it's
Taz and
gonna be
Midian next
Gilbert.
on Raw, while
Funny
Nitro
as.
presents a gauntlet match, the Natural Born Thrillers versus Big Vito. Midian came out wearing his
Vito
Shawn
was
Michaels
matching
fanny
with
pack, and I guess it's okay because he's not interfering in a match. Though Taz got really distracted as Midian made his entrance while Hulk Hogan's Real American played in the arena. Really distracted as Midian made his entrance while Hulk Hogan. Though Taz got really
This nigga looks shocked. Stunned, confused, and discombobulated all at the same time. I don't know how someone could express that feeling. That's actually pretty funny, I'm gonna lie.
really distracted as Midian made his entrance while Hulk Hogan's Real American played in the arena, and Taz's brain got so melted by Midian's posing that Lawler was able to instantly pin him and steal an easy win. Taz felt so embarrassed by what happened that he choked Lawler out on the rampway during a commercial.
In the Royal Rumble, he just beat Kurt Angle for the first time to make him get his first loss, and now he's getting quick roll-up pins by the King Lawler by having Midian fuck with his matches. Like, Taz could have been a big star, man, low key. I mean, Orange was his thing. But like, yeah, Taz could have that has been pretty big. It's tough out here, man. It's tough when you got Vince booking for you, and he just seems to like, well, you know what he likes, and if you don't know what he likes, well, tough for you, my nigga.
Commercial break, but Taz, just accept what happened, buddy. You got mesmerized by Midian's sexy body, it's okay to admit it. On Nitro, Russo wanted the Natural Born Thrillers to destroy Big Vito after what Vito did to him last week, and after that beating Sanders and company took from Goldberg, I'd be really surprised if they lost this one. It's a gauntlet match we've got here. Sanders says the Natural Born Thrillers are the most genetically jacked superstars ever. Vito says yeah, because they're always in the showers pumping each other. Vito doesn't mind being a fat boy because he could still kick all these guys' asses. So our gauntlet match begins, and this isn't a gauntlet match, is it? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on 1 match,
6 on
so
1.
Vito doesn't have a
That's a gauntlet
chance.
match apparently.
Twice Vito was able to fight back, but the numbers
yeah,
are
he
way
almost
too
won,
much,
I guess.
and it ends with a diving shoulder block from Palumbo, a lion salt from Jindrak, and a Sean Tom bomb from O'Hare. Sanders gets the pinfall win, and
has a
Vito
nice
gets beaten up
fucking
even.
Sean Tom bomb.
Sean,
Like a
and it
nice
ends with a
Sean
diving
Tom
shoulder
bomb.
block
Yeah.
from Palumbo, a lion salt from Jindrak, and
that.
a Sean Tom bomb from O'Hare.
That's really
Sanders
impressive.
gets the
Someone
pinfall
who's
win,
size.
and Vito gets
How
beaten
tall
up
he is.
even more after the
really
bell.
impressive.
Sanders hits Vito with his own stickball bat, so I guess Russo did get his revenge in this match. The babyface War
sorry for
Games
so much
team,
going on,
minus
man.
Goldberg, are all ready to step inside the triple
Goldberg's
cage.
a babyface,
Everyone's aiming
Goldberg's
for
one of
Russo
the
tonight,
babyfaces
but they
so
also know they can win the World Championship. On Raw, meanwhile, Jim Ross says that Steve Austin's going to discuss his future this week on SmackDown. Ross doesn't say if Austin's actually going to be inside the arena, but Stone Cold's going to
he's
address
96
what's
further.
next for him, what
Well,
his plans
97.
are moving forward,
Yeah,
and he's
97
also
further.
going to talk
97
about Survivor Series 99. It's like Backlash 2000 never happened. Earlier on, Edge and Christian talked about how they could get out of their main event match against The Rock and The Undertaker. They could say they've got Tourette's, and seeing as it's live TV, they wouldn't be allowed to compete. They could say they've got genital warts, seeing as no one would want to touch them, nor check their privates to see if they actually do have giant warts on their knobs. But Mick Foley came in to say he'd suspend
they
the
so
boys
excited
and strip them
about
of their belts if they tried to say they were ill before the match.
What? They
So
got
ENC take on Rock and Undertaker in our Raw main event, while WCW presents
event
War
already?
Games 2000.
Wait.
The Big Red Machine Kane came out to provide commentary.
That's a long
Crazy how
main
this guy
event,
didn't
bro.
have a word to say for ages, and now he won't shut the fuck up. He says The Rock's life has been a total
gonna
formula
use
for
the
success,
toolbox?
while Kane had to drag himself out of the gutter to be considered
Are you
human.
talking normally?
Poor guy. Our tag title match gets underway with Rock making easy work of Christian, and as Taker comes in, we see the Hardys watching backstage. These guys want to become tag team champions too, but looks like Undertaker and Rock are going to beat them to it. In comes Edge to take a DDT from the Undertaker. The dead man tries to take on both champions all on his own, and this leads to Edge performing a spear. Kane, meanwhile, is asking Jim if he knows what pain really is, and Jim's like, I've no idea, but I'm sure you're going to tell me. And our match continues on with Undertaker missing an elbow drop and the tag champion.
It is crazy when you think about it, because he used to have the full body thing, because he just say, oh, Kane had all these burns and he's supposed to cover up, oh, the mental, this, the other, like, oh, Kane is not supposed to, what's it like, oh, Kane, I don't know how to make a Paul Bearer voice. I forgot how Paul Bearer sounds, but like, yeah, Kane had all that shit because obviously all the scars and shit, all the permanent stuff, and then one by one, he has one full sleeve and one empty sleeve, and now he's pretty much wearing a singlet type shit and has like full body out here, and then obviously 2 years later he gets unmasked. So it's like, it's crazy how they keep backtracking on his story, but it's wrestling. You gotta do what you want for the click.
Champions keep their advantage by cheating. It's kinda wild that the Undertaker's looking to tag out and it's Rock looking for the hot tag. It's just weird seeing the Undertaker looking a way out for a change. We get a long chin lock from Christian, and this also highlights how times have changed. Remember, we used to get 3 chin locks in one match, like pretty consistently every week? Those days are gone, ladies and gents. Edge and Christian work together to stop a last ride and chokeslam attempt. The break comes when Undertaker and Edge go down after a double clothesline. In comes Rock to take the champs out, and he's looking good after a power slam and a DDT. Chris Benoit shows up and the Undertaker stops him from getting in the ring. This allows Rock to deliver a rock bottom, though Edge breaks the cover. Christian distracts the referee. Undertaker's still busy with Benoit, so Edge hits Rock with a steel chair, though Rock kicks out of the follow-up cover as Taker gets back to his corner. Instead of tagging Undertaker in, Rock delivers a spinebuster to Christian. Kane pulls the referee out, and we get a brawl between Kane and Taker outside the ring. This leaves Rock all alone to take a concerto, which admittedly didn't look good at all. So Edge and Christian win via pinfall, and that's how Raw ended this week. Not a great main event really, but we have seen worse.
The Good Guys has epic deals on now. Get this Falcon 75-inch TV, $7.99.
Right, War Games 2000, here we go. Sting and Jarrett begin the match, and Shivani confirms that these two can try and reach the third cage right now and claim the belt if they want to. So why they didn't try to do this, I don't know. It's all Sting right here as the men fight in and outside the ring. Sting introduces a ladder to the match and Jarrett takes a bump on it just before entrant number 3 comes in. And here comes Big Papa Pump. Scott's got a nose guard on and the commentators don't explain why, but apparently Scott had a legit broken nose. The heels work together to take Sting out. They do a pretty good job too, and they begin their journey to cage 2 before the next entrants come out, and it's chronic. The boys stop Jeff from making his way up, but Steiner's already trying to break through the second cage door with bolt cutters, and it looks like there's a lot of weapons in there too.
Isn't it 1 by 1? And are we going to keep consistency? It's War Games. It's Vince fucking Russo anyways.
He gets the door open, but then Chronic make their way into cage 2 and Scott gets wrecked. They try to push Scott into the cage ceiling and this didn't look good at all. But never mind that, here comes Vince Russo. Vince Russo with a hockey helmet and 2 other helmets known as Ronald and Donald. The Harris boys climb up and they go right after Chronic. They aren't very successful, but they do keep Adams and Clark busy. In the ring, Vince Russo takes a Stinger splash and Sting applies the Deathlock, but Kevin Nash then makes his entrance and Sting decides to let go of the hold. Nash lifts Steiner up out of the corner and we aren't sure if Kev's going to attack Big Papa Pump or not. We don't find out either because Sting tries an attack but he ends up taking a chokeslam. Nash turns his attention to Russo. It looks like Vince is going to get chokeslam too, but Steiner and Jeff want Nash to back off and Russo gets on his knees to apologise to Kev. While this is going on, Chronic and the Harris boys are fighting in the crowd, so I guess that's those guys out of the match. Nash is grabbing everyone by the neck and the commentators are convinced that Nash has turned babyface again. No one takes a chokeslam though because Booker T enters War Games and Kev gets out of the ring while Book takes everyone out. When Nash gets back inside, Booker takes a big boot, and so the final entrant Bill Goldberg enters the cage, and while he is successful at first, he ends up going down after a bat shot from Russo. Goldberg's been knocked out. Steiner, Russo and Jarrett managed to handcuff him to the top rope. The other competitors begin to climb up the cage, though Kev's like, no thank you, and he stays on the ground floor. There's no way Kev's going up there, not a chance. It's Booker T who retrieves the belt, but now he has to get all the way back down again and leave through the bottom cage door. Unfortunately, Sting's also found himself handcuffed, and that means Book has absolutely no backup and he struggles to make it out of cage 2. Booker takes a guitar shot while Scott Steiner drops the world belt down to Russo, and as Russo celebrates with the WCW belt, Ernest Miller shows up to kick Vince in the head. Nash takes care of Miller, the Cat takes a jackknife, Kev's ready to leave the ring, but Goldberg frees himself and Billy Boy goes on a rampage. Goldberg takes out anything that moves, including Vince Russo. He grabs the championship belt. All he has to do is walk out the cage, but hold up Billy Boy, because Bret Hart's here and he slams the cage door in Goldberg's face. Steiner and Jarrett bring Goldberg back into the ring, and on the outside we see the swerve. They get more and more predictable every week. Russo and Nash have a good laugh as they hug it out. Vince hands Big Sexy the world belt. Kev, Vince, Steiner and Jarrett walk out the cage door together, so Kevin Nash is still our WCW champion. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call this a War Games match because it was way too different, but if you really want to put it in the same category as the original War Games matches, then this is one of the worst we have ever had the pleasure of watching.
It is the worst War Games we've ever seen.
Nitro wins Reliving the War this week. Even though War Games 2000 was an absolute mess, Nitro was still more interesting to watch in comparison to the WWF's offerings this week. I did enjoy Raw's opening promo, but it took up way too much time, and the Triple H vs Test payoff match was way too short. That opening promo also made every other Raw match suffer due to how long it took, so it's a case of the WWF being pretty bad with their timings this week, which isn't usually like them. The intrigue of seeing the Triple Cage on Nitro was the show's main draw, and while yes, the match wasn't good and the swerve was way too obvious, it's not like Raw had any brilliant matches this week either. So just for the fact that they tried something different this week, Nitro wins Reliving the War, and that means WCW's now on 82 points, Raw's on 145, and we've got 24 ties. In the TV ratings, Raw got a 4.2, while Nitro got a 3.6. Again though, because of the US Open, Raw was in a different time slot. On Raw next week, we're going to begin solving the mystery behind who ran over Stone Cold at Survivor Series 99. We'll also see Chris Jericho taking on Triple H, Eddie Guerrero trying to make things right with China, and The Rock and Undertaker team up once again for another main event. On Nitro, Kevin Nash wants to plan another finger poke of doom when he's put in a match against Scotty Steiner. Hacksaw Jim Duggan shows up to put an end to this Team Canada nonsense. And hell yeah, our boy David Flair becomes a man when he gets married to Miss Hancock. Maybe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week.
And when she gets pregnant with like Ric Flair's son or something, I don't know. This was nice. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so tired for some reason. I might doze off for a bit. If it gets really bad, I'm gonna